All right, for this cook, I said that we were gonna double smoke a ham. What I mean by that is that ham usually is cured. It usually already is smoked, if you can buy it that way, and it's spiral sliced. So what are we doing here? What we're doing here is we're taking that ham, we're gonna heat it up in a manner that's gonna give it a little bit more smoke, a little bit more flavor, and you know what? It's gonna turn out amazing. So let's get to it. All right, we got our ham here. And like I said before, it's just a cheap, spiral sliced. It says brown sugar ham, but the only reason they call it a brown sugar ham is because they put a pack of brown sugar on the back of it as a glaze. We're gonna make our own glaze for this one today. Again, we said double smoke because it is already, if you see at the bottom, it says hickory smoked. So we have a hickory smoked spiral sliced ham from Kroger here. The sale price on it was $9.93, and you really can't beat that. I think it works out to about a 9-pound, 9.5-pound ham. It was 97 cents a pound, so you can do the math there. $9.93. And you know what? We're gonna make this thing taste delicious, so let's get into it. All right, we'll just get this wrapper off of this thing. So it's pretty moist. All we're gonna do is take our barbecue rub and add some rub to it. Don't wanna add too much rub to it just to give it a little bit of a barbecue smoke type flavor. We're gonna add that to the outside. It's pretty moist. So we're just gonna take the favorite rub that we like to do this with, the honey barbecue rub. This is one is from Suckle Busters. You can use anything that you got around the house. I would stay away from anything that's too salty because this thing already has plenty of salt in it. So we're just gonna get this thing rubbed down a little bit, go from there. You definitely want to try to leave this plastic piece, if yours has it, in until you're ready to set this thing down to smoke. If not, those layers will start coming apart. As we flip this thing back up, we're going to take this piece of plastic out. We don't want that in there, so make sure to look for that. If you don't see it, make sure you look for it because most of them have it. We're going to take that piece of plastic out. We're going to center this on this smoking tray. These smoking trays are awesome. If you don't have one of those, you ought to pick one of those up. And we'll have links in the description down below if you're looking for any of the stuff that we use in our video here. And there we go. We'll let that sit there for a minute, let it sweat a little bit, and then we'll take it out, get it on the smoker. All right, we got the Yoder fired up at 250 degrees. We're gonna get this ham on this pit. All right, let's get this thing on here. So this ham is a little bit too tall for this upper rack, so we're gonna take the upper rack out, and we're gonna cook this thing on the lower rack. I don't want a whole lot of direct heat on it, so I am gonna put a water pan. It's got about 1.5 cups of water in it, and I am gonna add a cold beer. And I get a lot of comments sometimes that says, you know what, beer doesn't do anything, it doesn't add anything. Well, what people don't realize is beer evaporates a little bit quicker than water. So what'll happen is I'll start to get moisture on that meat before the water gets to a point where it's adding moisture to that meat. So we're gonna get that ham right on top of this, and what it's gonna do is it's gonna add a little bit of, I guess, an insulated layer to that meat since it's already cooked, and at the same time it's gonna add moisture to it as it cooks as well. So we'll get that in there now. So we're just gonna take that, put that right on top of that pan, just like that. So we're gonna put this to bed. Like I said before, it's already cooked. You're just adding smoke to it. So if you do this at 300 or 350 degrees, you're not gonna get a whole lot of smoke into it. If you only have a few hours, do it at 225 and then kick it up. But right now we're going at 250 degrees. We're gonna leave this on here for probably around 4 hours total. But after about an hour or so, we'll come out and make sure it's not drying out. If it's drying out, maybe we'll spritz it a little bit. Maybe we won't. We'll bring you back. All right, we're about 1 hour in on this ham cook. Let's take a look at it and see how it's doing. All right, we're rolling along at about 250 degrees. Let's check this thing out. As you can see, not much to it. Still not quite dry, so we'll continue to run at 250 degrees for another hour or so before we probably have to spritz. We still have plenty of water, plenty of beer in the bottom. We're gonna close this up, cook it another hour, and we'll bring you guys back when we're at the 2-hour mark. See you then. All right, we're at hour 3. We're gonna go ahead and spritz this ham. Looks like about 100 degrees on the internal temperatures. Been on for about 3 hours at 250. We're gonna go ahead and spritz it, and then we're gonna bump it up to about 275 to bring that internal up. We wanna finish at about the 4-hour mark on this one. So we'll get in there and get that done. All right, we've been rolling around at about 250 degrees in the odor. Looks like it's drying up on this side. Still have some moisture on this side. We have half apple cider vinegar, half water. We're just gonna give it a good spritz here. All right, got it good and spritz. Like I said before, we're at about 100 degrees on the internal temperature here. Remember, we're not cooking to a temperature, we're just cooking till it's hot enough to eat, and then we have the smoke penetration that we're looking for. So we're gonna leave it on here. We're at the 3-hour mark. We wanna be done around 4 hours and put the glaze on. So we're gonna leave this for about another hour or so. We're gonna bump the temperature up to 275 degrees, and then we'll come in and put the glaze on it and then cook it for about another 15 minutes or so. We'll bring you back at that point. All right, so to make this glaze, we're on low heat. We're gonna put a half a cup of apple cider vinegar in there. Then we have about a quarter cup of honey, local honey, of course. Get all that out of there. Then we're gonna add half a cup light brown sugar. Get that in there, stir that up a little bit. Then we're gonna add 1/2 of a teaspoon of ground cloves, 1/2 of a teaspoon of cinnamon, and then we're just going to sit here and stir this until it all gets incorporated and gets ungrainy, and then we'll get that put on top of that ham. We'll take you out there. All right, we're at the 3-hour, 45-minute mark. We're gonna go ahead and get this thing glazed. Like we said, we just took that glaze and we made sure that it was kind of incorporated and all the sugar particles started to break down a little bit. We'll get it on top of this ham. All right, we had ourselves a dead camera there for a second. What we did was we took that glaze, we just poured it right over the top, took our brush and then brushed it into the top. Like we were saying before, 275 degrees for 15 or 20 minutes will be good for this. You can even take it up to 300. You don't want to take it up too high because you don't want to burn the sugar crystals on top. So we're about ready, 15, 20 minutes. We'll get this off and we're gonna go to eat it. So the good thing about having that water pan underneath is that it caught all that extra, and you know what? It's going to add some flavor as it finishes off. So we'll see you guys here in a few minutes for a taste. All right, right at 4 hours in, and this thing is done. Oh man, it is looking good. Let me get you in here and let you look at this thing. The color on the outside, that glaze looks real good. I tell you, we need to get a taste of this one. All right, we're just going to cut off a little bit here, get a good taste of it. Juicy, squirting out everywhere. Let me get a little bit further down here and get some of this cut off. Wow, that looks good. All right, let's get a taste of this thing. Look at that outside, man. Hopefully you can see that. That crust on the outside from the glaze. Let me get this in here. I can't wait to get this in my mouth here. We'll catch y'all next time.